Boom! There we have it. The engine, the new engine is in. It is bolted down. I've got this manifold in loose, and I'll be working all those bolts in with the new gasket. I need to work on getting that AC pump bracket all bolted in, and then keep working on the front drive accessories and whatnot, and then the top end. That right there by the oil filter, right there, is the oil cooling lines, and it came with a bypass, but I ended up swapping out the cooling lines so the radiator can just do its thing. Now, keep in mind that the bolts are a different length with what came on the crate motor, and there is a different gasket as well. So luckily that gasket came with the new kit, and I just needed to make sure to use the correct length bolts. I pulled the knock sensors and lower sensors, the crank position sensor off this side, and so this engine is ready to be recrated and sent back for a core. I'm gonna have to remember to pull that plug out for the dipstick before too long, but I wanted to get all this dirty stuff back on before I disturbed it too much. So once the manifold is tightened up, I'll pop the dipstick back into this new engine and keep it good and sealed. All right, well, I've got the exhaust bolted on to both sides. That downpipe is tightened up. The AC is in place. That's such a bear to get to. It's not funny. Now it's time to prime the engine. So I'm going to lift it up and put a full oil filter on, and then I'm going to pour oil all through both of the rocker areas and get oil all over. And I've got special break-in oil. I'll show you that. This is Penn Grade 1 high performance break-in oil. I got some of that, and so we will just roll it over with no spark plugs in the cylinders and no intake, so there's low resistance on the pistons, and just roll it over a few seconds at a time until oil starts coming through the top end. Well, I've got my 6 quarts of oil dumped all over the rockers, push rods and valve springs and all that, and I was gonna just throw the duct tape back on and roll it over a few times, but I feel like at 10 bucks a quart, I don't really want to be wasting too much of that break-in oil. So I'm going to clean up the valve covers and put them on, and then I'll probably just keep the oil cap off and see if I can get any oil squirting through there, maybe throw a rag down a little bit, wait for that to get wet. So that's my plan. Well, as they say, best laid plans of mice and men. I've got the valve covers back on, and all is well with starter, wiring, battery, all that. But I'm guessing because of the checks that the truck has to do to the throttle body, it won't crank. So I'm going to just keep on going with the installation of the intake and associated accessories. Basically, I'm going to put everything together and subtract fuel. I've got the fuel pump fuse pulled right now, so that way it doesn't get any juice, and I will just see what I can do to crank it over and build some oil pressure that way when it's finished being together.